Hey everyone, John here with Haiku Trading, just making a video for you guys so that we can understand my platform and the setup that I use on a regular basis to make money in the stock market. So here we have on the top left my versatile chart. It's usually a 1 minute, that's Facebook on the top left. We frequently change this chart. Whenever I have a bunch of positions, all I have to do is click on a position and this chart will change. We can see I just pulled off a short there, and beneath it I keep a 5-minute chart because it goes hand in hand with the Bollinger Bands when I like to see a different time frame and get a different opinion on how much volatility there actually is in correlation with the VWAP, because sometimes when you're far away from the VWAP you can't get an accurate read on the 1 minute volatility. And on the top right up here I always keep the QQQ. It's usually a 1 minute as well. I haven't changed it off the 1 minute weeks, and it basically works as a benchmark so that I can gauge where the majority of the stocks are moving and where a lot of the stocks that I trade are moving as well. It is the tech sector ETF. It tracks the NASDAQ 100, and it is a frequently traded stock. You'll see that most of my trades actually are on there. And beneath that I have the summary page where you can see what positions I have, and you can see U plus net is there. That's my overall position. You can see the net and the U on my summary here. The U is the unrealized profit, the U plus net is unrealized and net, and the net is obviously my closed position there. So with that being said, we'll take a look at some of the trades that I've made today. And we'll start with this flag pattern that seems to be generating to the right on QQQ. We have a downwards move that busted through the VWAP, and then a small up trend, which did bust through the VWAP as well, but overall it's still maintaining what you would call a flag pattern. In a moment I'm going to draw a bottom trend line to this flag pattern. You can see me putting my orders in, those blue lines right there. Those are my cover orders to take profit on my short. If you didn't know, the red downwards arrows are my short positions, and these blue arrows that are being formed right now are my covered positions. So this stock, it does move down a little bit farther and it generates a double bottom off of the bearish flag, and this is something that we see quite often. You can see that I've drawn another bottom trend line there that almost looks like it's forming a triangle at the end of the day there. This website that I pull up quite frequently is whenever I want to look at something in the longer term, when I want to look at something in a longer time frame. It's called TradingView. You might have heard me talk about it in the chat. I frequently post pictures with it. It's not part of my platform, but I will go over a tutorial on how I use that, how it benefits me as well. But for the most part, these trades that you see right here are all being done and being based off of my platform. What you would call that on the QQQ to the right there is an uptick short. Let's see what happens with that. You can see I'm drawing a symmetrical triangle there on another stock that I'm looking at. I shorted QQQ for the continuation there on the uptick short. Looks like I'm holding, and we get filled. So already you can see that I'm pretty much racking it up at $879 profit already. I'm in a trade, and looks like I just shorted QQQ again at that bottom trend line, which is now resistance. Already covered that one, and a continuation along the other trend line that I had previously to that. And naturally, thinking about the inverse correlation that gold and the market has together, we look at JNUG up on the versatile 1 minute chart at the top left there. It looks like it's spiking pretty hard. And as you can see, I took a position short, flattened here to avoid losses, but with the mindset of getting in again. So I got in again and soon after closed my position, and it did end up going back down to the VWAP, but I didn't ride it, so that's okay though. So the one part of my platform that we didn't speak about is my order entry system and how I use my level 2 and time and sales located in the middle of the screen there. You can see them flashing yellow, red, blue, and violet, as well as one in the middle that is more of a consistent yellow, red, or green color. So we'll start with the level 2, which is the you can see one on each side. There is basically every single order that hasn't been filled yet is in there, including dark pools and many other indicators such as the depth and size of each order at each given price, so you can gauge how difficult it would be for someone to buy enough shares in order to break through that price. So for instance, if there's 10,000 shares at $100, you're going to have to buy those 10,000 shares in order to get to the next given price there. So that's one way we can look at it. But another way that we do use it is we click on whatever price we want to trade at. So for instance, you can see every price on the level 2. We like to see where the orders are so that we can gauge where we want to make our entries. So for instance, if we're free falling and we see we're coming up to a large order block in the level 2, we might want to adjust our position before we bounce off of the heavy order flow. And then we might see the time and sales in the center of both of my level 2s. You can see it's flashing green to red to yellow and back and forth. This basically just tells us every single share that was traded and what time, which exchange, and how many shares were traded and whether they were bought or sold. And that's basically to see, you can see how many people are trading and what sizes they're trading, and it can be quite useful. Quite seldomly do I base any real trading strategy off of it, but it is good to take a glance at. For instance, if it's not moving, then you'll know that there's no shares being traded, and that could present a problem. So I like to keep it up there just to gauge that. And that pretty much sums up everything to do with the usage of the platform. Like, I use the VWAP, which is the purple line on every chart, and then we also have the Bollinger Bands on there. So I use the Bollinger Bands on the 1 minute and the 5 minute, and I also keep them on the QQQ there. So basically it's to gauge how volatile the stock is when it's farther away from the VWAP. It can be used near the VWAP as well. The larger the band width is, the more volatility we're getting. And when I see that, for instance, a stock that's at all-time highs, and it's screaming overbought with the Bollinger Bands, and it can't go any higher based on the fact that it's overextended on the 1 minute and the 5 minute and overextended from the VWAP, then I'll be looking to short it 9 times out of 10. But it all depends on the individual stock's characteristics and other things like volume and price action as well, depending on if there's news as well, and how well the QQQ and the market is doing in general. So those are all things that I take into consideration and use on a regular basis. Well, on a side note, that QQQ trait that we can see on the charts up there is doing quite phenomenal. We're expecting to get filled at that blue line. That's where I'm expecting to cover my short position. The blue dot on the line also signifies the time at which I place the order, and the line obviously signifies the price as well. And that's pretty much everything that we've went over for today. We know that the volume's at the lower end of every chart, and ticker symbols at the top left. Trend lines are trend lines, and I hope you guys have really enjoyed my video. I'm going to be making a lot more videos, a lot more commentary, and if you guys have any suggestions, feel free. You can always join me in the Haiku Trading Discord. There's a link in the description, and if you're ever interested in joining us, feel free to come by. If you have any questions regarding what I can do for future movies, I'm always open for suggestions and criticism. If you want any particular movies made at all, or anything covered, let me know and I'd be happy to help you out. And have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the market tomorrow. Okay.